a little yap session about this. I saw this going around rumors. Sega apparently has a 2.5D Sonic game in the works for 2027, which is a little bit, little bit vague posty. The rumor is very weird. So hold on, let me see if they have the source for it. It's a very weird rumor for this. So an expert is currently doing the rounds, which claims that a Playground game source has said that Sega is hard at work on a 2.5D Sonic the Hedgehog game. The 2.5D platformer, which seemingly developed internally at Sega, is apparently planned as a 2027 release. This is just a rumor present and should basically be taken as much. So from what I saw, this was someone saying this on like, what app was it? It was like, it's Telegram or something. Now here's the thing, right? Yeah, the thing that throws me off and throws people off is the fact that like, it's the source's Playground games. Now these guys, here's what's random. These guys make Forza games. I'm like 95% sure. Yeah, these guys make Fable. They make Fable and they made Forza Horizon 6. So it's a weird fucking rumor, but it also is so weird that it makes me believe it. Because why on earth of all people would they know? You know what I mean? Like, why would this, like, of any rumor you'd like to start, why would you start it from someone at like Playground Games? You know what I mean? So bit of a weird one. I don't know where it came from. What if the guy in Telegram is like AI generated? It could be that the guy is AI generated. But here's my thing, right? This is one of those rumors or things where I'm kind of like, well, it's probably, I always say this, there are rumors that are real, not because of the rumor, but because it's probably happening anyway, right? By next year's time, Sonic Superstars is a 4-year-old game. That's a long time since we've had a 2D Sonic game. And I feel like, and I said this last night on Twitter, and I think this is the case. I think the 2D game is how you do a movie tie-in release. I think a 2D game is how you do the movie tie-in. Because there was a rumor earlier this year that they're working on like a Sonic CD. Was it a successor or a Sonic CD sequel? Sonic CD remake. Was it a remake? Oh, this was the thing, right? It was that a Sonic CD remake. Sega 16 published an interview with the former vice president of Sega of America, Mike Fisher, where he made a couple surprising statements. He has heard that Sega are remaking Sonic CD, but provided no other details regarding the statement. This should only be considered a rumor. Mike also claims that Yuji Naka stole credit for creating Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, that stuff we knew. But this is where this is all tying up. But I do think a 2D Sonic game is sort of like, that is how you sort of like bridge a tie-in game for it. Why do a remake? I don't think, okay, first of all, I do think of all the 2D Sonic games that deserve a remake, it probably is CD, right? Like, I feel like that's the one that like fans complain about for level design and, hype moments and aura. But like, I feel like if you just keep the areas in the game, right? You keep the areas in the game. You have like a unique look and art style to it, right? You make it so that when you beat the game, Amy becomes playable. I hope it was good. I think they'll just make a game that'll be like CD, as you said. They'll probably make a plot with Metal Amy. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, okay, I think I think it'll be a game that is CD adjacent. Maybe it'll have the past and future gimmick. It might be like a sequel. What about Sonic 3 and Knuckles? Thoughts of the idea of that game getting a remake? No, that one I don't need a remake of, because I feel like that game is already fantastic. But I feel like the difference is Sonic CD is a game that a lot of people have problems with despite them liking it, right? And so I feel like it also, I said this to people, like Sonic, the next mainline Sonic game, it might have a DLC for the movie, or it might have some like, something involving metal, but I don't think the next mainline game should tie into the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the next mainline game should be, hey, this game is going to be about Amy and Metal Sonic just because we have a movie. I'm like, a game, they spent a long time working on these games, They probably didn't do that in mind. With Shadow Gens, it was a bit of an exception because, like, it was a smaller scale thing that they could smartly tie in with a remaster and package it together, you know? So I think it's a little bit different, but I don't want the next mainline game to be like movie tie-in styled. You know, I think that's something you do for a DLC or something smaller scale. And so I think that's how you do this for a potential 2D game, whether this remake is real or not, right? So like, I think this game might be a spiritual successor to CD, where it is a 2D side game. And honestly, they might even make it a modern 2D game. Who knows? You know, I don't know if this is like a classic style or a modern style, but I would love, hey, best of both worlds. You get a modern 2D game that people want, right? You could even make it in the style like of how the Shadow Gens 2D levels were, which were pretty cool. So you could do something like that, you know? That'd be pretty cool if they made like a modern 2D Sonic game that was based around like Metal Sonic. And that what if you could swap styles in the game? That'd be cool. I'd like that idea. Sonic CD 2. Exactly. But no, I think a new 2D Sonic game is most likely next year anyways. But if anything, it's more likely than a 3D Sonic, you know, unironically enough. I do want a 3D Sonic next year. I feel like it's time. Chop. But I feel like there's no world where like 2D Sonic is going to need more than 5 years. How would a source at Playground Games be reliable about this? Aren't they on Microsoft? But that's what I'm saying, Mr. Jet, is this is so random that it makes me believe it. Because again, in what world would a source at Playground Games know this if it wasn't real in some way? I don't know. It's probably not true. You know, it probably isn't. But I'm saying if it was, it would be one of those things where I'm like, maybe, you know? So I don't know. Could mean that the game is Xbox exclusive or something. I doubt it. Maybe they have the marketing for it. But yeah, here's what I think. I don't believe it because of this, but 100% we're going to get a 2D game by next year. When are they going to announce it? Here's my thing is I could see maybe this 2D game announced at Gamescom. How you doing, Money Mew? At Gamescom or the next State of Play or something. And that's like an early 2027 release. Like, you know, make it like February or March, right? Is there any proof that this was even for Playground Games? There's a random Twitter saying it came from Playground Games. There was an image. I wonder if I can find the picture. Hold on. Regardless, I do think it makes sense that next year we're probably going to go all out and it is going to be like a 2D game and a 3D game, you know, because they're going to have the movie synergy. And I think it's time, right? Like, dude, by next year, I mean, come on. At some point, chop, buddy. All right, next year, you know, 5 years since Sonic Frontiers, right? 4 years since Sonic Superstars. I think it's time. That's more than enough to work on your quality control and making the next game like the best thing it needs to be. If it's not impossible, we get 2 Sonic games next year. Plus, this happened in 2017 for Mania and Forces in 2022 for Origins. Yeah, no, I mean they've done it before, so I feel like next year, like. I think it's funny. People have been talking about the anniversary. We've had the conversation a million times. I think this anniversary is very much like, hey, let's celebrate what we can, but we're not going to force anything to come out if it's not ready, you know? So let's just do crossovers, comics, animated, you know, special going down Pico Park, right? All this like smaller scales, which is good. You know, ultimately we want things to be great. Are they releasing a year dedicated to Amy like they did with Shadow? No, I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I feel like I've said this before. Like, I really think the only character, singular character, at least for now, that can carry a year is Shadow, because Shadow is like the player 2, you know? Like, I just think it's one of those franchises. Like, I can't even think, like, even Nintendo, right? Like, Princess Peach, as popular as she is, they don't do a year of Peach, right? And she's like infinitely more popular than like any Sonic character, right? And that's my thing, you know, like the only other Nintendo character to get a year, who was it? Luigi, you know, that's because they're the player 2. I think dedicating a singular year to a character is only possible if you know that character got cachet, right? And maybe after movie 4, Amy can have cachet, but for now, like, again, casuals are not going to, like, Shadow is so popular. I've talked about this before. Shadow is so popular that casuals will buy a Shadow only thing. You know, Amy is still a character that like Sonic fans will buy a game for, right? But it's not marketable in the same way. You know, you are not going to have casuals being like, I want to buy this Amy game. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, Knuckles maybe, right? Because, you know, he had his own show. He is a big part of movie 2, you know, and even then they don't even give Knuckles his own game. So yeah, I think eventually, I think past movie 4, we could potentially see a year of Amy. I think they would, to be honest with you, I think they would do like the year of the Sonic, you know, Sonic Girly Pops, right? Obviously, they wouldn't call it that. They probably call it something better than that. Where you get a focus on Amy, on Blaze, on potentially Tango Whisper in there. But I don't see them doing an individual year for Amy. I don't even think they're going to do an individual one for Metal. Because Metal at the end is an antagonist that, you know, is cool, right? But he doesn't have that same level as Sonic and the others. So what do you think about Silver, considering his place in Japanese popularity? Silver, I still think... So, Silver has, like, the Saiyan buff, right? Where, like, Silver, like... because he's quote-unquote one of the main, you know, he's a main hedgehog, he could have something given to him, but I think he needs a bit more popularity first, right? Like, I think Sonic needs to, like, add more stuff to Silver's life and material, and then we can do that. But I do agree that, like, Shadow is the only other character that can get a year, which is why all, like, think about it. Besides Shadow, every year of has been Sonic and Friends, Sonic, you know, 35th anniversary in general, Sonic Fast Friends Forever, right? Like, nothing is Year of Shadow besides Year of Shadow. So I don't think they're gonna do that for multiple characters. But regardless, I do think this 2D game is probably happening next year. Like I said, if I were to be a betting man, the 2D game is the movie tie-in. It comes out early next year, around that time. And the mainline game will be announced probably around that time as well, but it'll come out in the fall, maybe. It will probably be an attempt at a fall release and maybe delay it for like additional stuff. But they do really... Here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? The big thing. Also, Zeki, I would love to see a Sonic 4chan league. Please send it to me. They really love making mainline Sonic in the fall. They don't put it anywhere else. Shadow Gens is in the fall. What's it called? Shadow Gens is in the fall. Sonic Frontiers is in the fall. Sonic Racing Cross was in the fall. Sonic Forces was in the fall. Like, I feel like I don't see a world where they're changing that. I feel like they are kind of pretty much dead set locked on Sonic being a mainline Sonic being a fall release. I don't think they want to do earlier. I think they like the holiday sales. So that's what I'm thinking. It's like that next mainline game is either straight up next fall or it is a full year after that. I hope it's not the case. I really don't. I really do hope it's not the case at all. But yeah, I do think if they're going to have a mainline game, it's going to be next fall, maybe like, you know, November, and have it around that time frame. I hope it is. Please do. Please do. So yeah, someone please, here, let me see this. I'm so curious about this here. I'm always, it's been a minute since we've seen a new Sonic 4chan league. Let's check this out. Some context. I apply online through various websites to be a game tester. Okay, the classic. And I must have hit the jackpot because I got to play test the next Sonic game. Unfortunately, there's not much I can present to show my validity as the email. The instructions are pretty easy to fake. And during the game, there was somebody in the room watching me the entire time. Genuinely CIA level shit for a Sonic game. Okay, let's see. Here's the info. Possible names are Sonic Omniforce, Sonic Recursion, Sonic Genesis, Sonic Rewind. I was presented with all 4 and asked to vote on, okay? I voted on Sonic Genesis. Return of open world gameplay, but the map is significantly bigger. Okay, pretty safe so far. You start off in Green Hill Zone, however, there are actual Sonic-isms this time, like corkscrews and loop-de-loops, okay? Okay, you eventually make your way onto a city where you fight Dr. Eggman, but after you defeat him, he turns back time, and you have to fight him again with a different moveset. Honestly, this fight was a bitch to complete. Okay. Once you defeat him again, Eggman fucks off and you're kind of left confused as to where he goes until the Death Egg just randomly pops in the sky out of nowhere and starts destroying the city with you having to run up buildings to make it to the Death Egg. Okay. You run around the Death Egg, which this time is your traditional hallway Sonic level until you find Dr. Eggman destroys a machine or whatever is powered with the time stones from CD, which causes you to go back to Green Hill Zone until you find out Tails, who doesn't remember you. That's about where it ended for me. Yeah, it's a Flashpoint plot, which I'm assuming is meant to tie into the next movie, as I was told it's coming in early March 2027. Yeah, okay, bro. Put my fries in the bag, bro. This is not a real rumor, bro. This is fake as shit, dude. No gameplay mechanics explained, no nothing. Like this is some bullshit, bro. This one's not even bro. No, dude. This is no. This one is fake. You know, watch me say this is fake and this is the one that's real, but I don't think this one is real at all. But hey, man, I think listen, we're all getting a little bit hungry. You know what I'm saying? We're all hungry. I get it. You know what I mean? That time is because I'm getting hungry. I will admit it's time. You know, I was thinking about it, I was like, fuck, man, like it's been so long since that like hype cycle. I miss it. Yeah, I mean, I'm hungry for it. Come on. Because even Shadow Gens, at least like that was 2 years ago now. That felt like something, even though it was smaller scale. I was like, ooh, but I'm getting hungry now. You know, it's been 2 years since Shadow Gens. I want my food on the table, you know? So let's see what we got. Hopefully we'll get this 2D game. Hopefully we'll get this 2D game announced in the next few months. Because the only place I could see a 2D game announced is probably either Gamescom, a State of Play, or Game Awards. And I still stand by that the Game Awards is going to be where the next mainline game is. I think that's where it's happening. Because 2D game, I think, can be anywhere. But I think that 3D game will be at the Game Awards with teaser footage of the movie. And that'll be it. That'll be when they do it. That's my final prediction of the year. So you don't believe in the Nintendo Direct? It's not gonna be an Direct. I've given up on Sonic ever being in a Direct ever again. You know, Sonic Crossroads is not even acknowledged in any Direct. You know, and Shadow Gens was barely. I think it was like in a JP sizzle reel, but I think they're more likely to be in a State of Play. I think more than ever now, Sonic and Nintendo are not in like a friendly, not that they're not like partners. I think they have a strong relationship. Like I know that Sega and Nintendo have a strong partnership. But I think Sonic right now is something that they're probably not promoting heavily because it just doesn't make sense for them to do. You know what I mean? Sonic Central found that in the streets. Yeah, I don't even know if they're gonna do Centrals. We'll see. We'll see, man. I think Centrals for me are like something that like I think you do them when things are announced where you give updates. I don't think you make them where you make mainline announcements because I think they want Sonic to be a bigger deal than a Sonic Central. So either way, we'll see. Very excited for what they may be or maybe not cooking. You know, the last Central was 2 years ago. Yeah. So basically, unless we get another Nintendo exclusive Sonic game, don't expect Sonic stuff on Nintendo videos like that. Yeah, I would not expect it. I mean, maybe, you know, you'll get like a trailer uploaded on their channel, but I would be hard pressed to ever find a Sonic game announced in a Direct for a long time, you know, especially without the Olympic Games being a thing or anything. I think it's the most you'll see Sonic in a Direct is when he's in the next Smash game, which is great. So that'll be it, man. That's you know the world we live in. Fuck it, we get added to NSO and boom, Sonic Storybook games. Yeah, fries in my bag. It's crazy because even Frontier Switch 2 Edition wasn't in a Direct. Yeah, Frontier Switch 2 Edition wasn't even in a Direct. You know, that could have been perfect for that instead of the Sonic stream we did. But it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But I expect. Listen, final prediction for this 2D Sonic game tie in with the movie. 3D Sonic game will not be tied into the movie. Maybe we'll have a DLC or Metal Sonic will be involved. But I also don't want the next mainline game to be based on the movie stuff just for the sake of it. Because I feel like a movie should, like, the game should be designed as the game first and foremost without having the movie in mind. You could obviously take inspiration, but don't have it centered around it. I think Sonic can be much bigger and different than that. So, W.